Welcome back to the Pathfinders podcast. We have a very different episode for you today, as we were invited back to the behind closed doors Apex dev stream. In this press event, we also got a chance to play the new Arenas mode almost 2 weeks early. So for this episode, we're ditching the normal podcast overlays, and there is no guest interview either. This video is going to go through all the information shared in the dev stream, as well as showing some gameplay from the event in the background too. Respawn said that they are about innovation, and that's really the point of the new season update Legacy. The new 3v3 arena mode is really shaking up what Apex is about. These matches are quick, competitive, and they're also a great way to warm up for the Battle Royale mode. The devs confirmed that this isn't the focus, and it's not going to take over as the BR being the main core mode of what Apex is about. The devs confirmed that Arenas originally started as a tournament mode back in September 2019. This original concept mode was 8 teams of 3 battling it out in 3v3 rounds on artillery base. So initially this was meant to be a knockout tournament mode, so if you won a round you would go through with the other 3 winners, so essentially going through to a semi-finals and then a finals leg. This was scrapped as an idea, as the devs liked the ability for players to go into a round, learn about their opponents, and then adapt and go forward and see how they can strategize and win the next round. So the format that they have decided on for Arenas is quite simple. The aim of Arenas is to simply kill all members of the opposing team. Do that and you will win the round. The first team to win 3 rounds by a 2-round margin wins the overall game. If the score goes to 4-4, then there will be a 9th round tiebreaker. So essentially the minimum a game can last for is 3 rounds, and the maximum could be 9 rounds. You'll pick a character at the start of the game, so you can't switch character whilst in the game. And then before each round you'll have a buy phase whilst in a safe zone. Once this buy phase is over, that's when the match will start. During this buy phase you can buy weapons, character abilities, meds, and much more. Armor levels will cycle automatically as the rounds go up, and you can also upgrade weapon tiers too. So upgrading an R99 to blue will add the blue attachments to the weapon. You can't interchange any attachments, but you can interchange the optics for the weapon, so you can get your preferred optic on the gun. At the end of each round you'll earn crafting metals so they can be used to purchase upgrades. You will also be awarded more metals by getting kills, opening loot bins, and also by going to material stations. Looting is not the focus of Arenas, and this mode is purely about skill. There will be a care package at the end of each round that will come down. This care package will cycle in rarity and will contain free guns. The care packages will only contain weapons. There is a circle on arena mode, and this does close, but from what I played, the rounds never got towards that small circle stage. They tended to be over before it got to that point. Metals and any unused meds, character abilities, and much more, they carry over if unused from each round. Certain items such as characters' ultimate abilities can be bought over, but in the buy phase they can only be bought every other round. It's also important to note that not all abilities cost the same either. The devs have put pricing systems in place, I'm guessing, to what they see as more powerful guns and more powerful abilities. Passive abilities are also included and need to be purchased. For example, the R99 can be bought during round 1 for 550 metals, but you will have no attachments on it. Whereas the carbine will not be able to be purchased during round 1. Win or lose, you will get some materials at the end of each round. There are no respawns on this mode, but you can revive teammates. During this dev stream there was a chance for Q&A at the end, and when asked if data gathered from this mode would impact future nerfs and buffs for characters, Daniel Klein did respond that issues should bleed through into the BR mode, and if changes were required they would be made. He said that with Arena they have essentially got this option to tweak the prices of abilities and weapons if needed to assist with balancing just purely for Arenas. There will be 2 new arena maps launching along with Artillery Base. 2 weeks after the launch we will see the introduction of Thermal Station from World's Edge, and then 4 weeks after launch we will see Gardens from Olympus added to the mix as well. Phase Runner is one of the new maps that looks very much like World's Edge. It has an active phase runner similar to the one on Olympus, and this is definitely the bigger of the 2 new maps. I didn't get a chance to play this map as the time of Arenas had elapsed, so we wasn't matching up against other teams. We just got quick, short glimpses to explore it, but we wasn't against anyone. The maps were designed to keep a good line of sight with enemies so that you can see people from afar. The devs didn't want certain abilities to become overwhelming, such as how Bloodhound could scan the entire map and find out where everyone is straight away and give his team an unfair advantage. Party Crasher is the map I got a chance to play a lot. The Mirage Voyage has crashed into this plaza, and the map is split into the Mirage Voyage on one side and then a 2-story plaza building on the other. This map was a lot of fun to play, but I have to say that this map seems slightly unbalanced and that you'll be one to be pushing towards the Mirage Voyage side the majority of the time. This is because it has high ground over the map. You will be able to see which way the ring is pulling before the round starts, but 9 times out of 10, if it's going central or towards the Mirage Voyage, you'll be one to be going that way. The reason is that it's very hard to push up this area if one team is already holding it down. Despite this balancing issue, I thought the map was a lot of fun to play. Chad Greene also did say that they were talking with ALGS regarding this new mode, as well as hinting that there could be some serious competitive scene in the future. It was stated though that the point of arenas at the minute is to simply ship it and see what the reaction is from fans. More support can be given to this in the future. When asked if limited time modes could be coming to arenas as well, that also wasn't ruled out by the devs. So Valkyrie is the new legend and is a very interesting one as she fits into that movement based class of legend that proves to be the most popular across the board for this game. I'm not going to go into the lore of the character as that information has already been out there for a while. Valkyrie does have 3 passive abilities though. First off, she fits into the recon class, so she'll be able to scan beacons. Her main passive is a jetpack, which is very useful and is a piece of kit that can really get you to new places very, very quick. You are vulnerable whilst on this jetpack and you can't shoot your weapons either. You will have to disengage your jetpack and then there's a short animation before the guns are pulled out. So it won't be instant. To engage Valkyrie's jetpack, you simply need to perform a double jump and then you'll go higher. There is also a separate button to travel in a straight line without gaining height with a jetpack. The jetpack is also loud too, so legends will be able to hear if Valkyrie is jetpacking around them. I still think Pathfinder and Horizon are going to have a higher kick rate due to their speed of their abilities when it comes down to movement. But it is important to remember that this is Valkyrie's passive ability and not her tactical, whereas Pathfinder's and Horizon's movement-based abilities are their tacticals. Her third passive is probably the more interesting one and probably the best piece of kit that she has. It's a great scouting tool, and whenever she is in flight, either from a balloon, the initial dropship, or from her ult, all of her enemy legends will light up red. It doesn't matter how far away they are, as long as they are in line of sight, they will show up red. This is similar to Bloodhound's scan, but this will not show players inside buildings. This information from the scan is also given to the player's teammates as well. I think this passive ability could make Valkyrie a very, very aggressive legend for people to pick during public matches. Her tactical is called Hellfire, and she fires clusters of 12 missiles that come down in 4 waves of 3. These are always in the same grid format and will do some damage to legends, but will also stun them too. The stun will not be as intense as an Arcstar stun. It shouldn't be powerful enough to kill a legend on full health, as this isn't meant to be a way to kill legends, but simply instead to open a fight. Valkyrie's ultimate ability is essentially a redeploy tool. This redeploy tool can either be used to gain a new position on an enemy team, or simply retreat from a fight. When initiating the ultimate, your 2 teammates can also hook up and redeploy with you. Your teammates do need to be in a very close proximity though, or otherwise they will be left behind. Daniel Klein stated that they needed to design this legend around the jetpack and solve the issue of how to make her fair if she's flying around and no one else can. They feel they have landed on a good point with her, and if this legend isn't very balanced and does feel a bit overpowered, then we shouldn't worry. He said, and I quote, "We think she is okay to play against. If she isn't, it's a live game, so we will fix it." I didn't get a chance to play Olympus's new map due to the times, and a lot of information is already out there now from the Apex blog posts, so I wanted to keep this video mainly revolving around arenas and some other meta changes. To quickly point out, the focus of changing Olympus was to add more points of interest and really bring out this new story in Apex that will expand over the future. Another area they brushed upon is that they felt the Tridents were in a good place and they don't really need to be changed currently. And the removal of 2 redeploy balloons was also something they was introducing this season. The Bowcheck bow is the new weapon in Apex, and this will also see the addition of a new weapon category called the Marksman. The bow is very silent, but it's not exactly stealthy. It kind of gives you a free shot on enemies whilst they figure out which direction they were shot from. The devs describe this as a way as you get one free shot. Arrows are scarce on the map, but any arrow fired can be picked back up. Arrows stick to cover, surfaces, and even stick into players too. By simply walking up to arrows on the ground, they are added back into your inventory. If you do hit an enemy player with an arrow, then they can only be obtained once the character is killed, and they will show up in their death boxes. With arrows sticking into cover, it also gives you an indication of the direction you was just shot from by looking at the position the arrow is stuck in. The bow also introduces 2 new hop-ups. The first turns the weapon into a shotgun by fragmenting the arrow at close range. This enables you to quickly switch the bow from a medium range gun to more of a close range option. This was a problem the devs were trying to solve, where medium range guns weren't very useful in those close quarter combats and more towards the end game. The second hop-up is all about quicker draw speed and helping you fire quicker. This second hop-up is also available on the Sentinel too. There was a lot of other changes that the devs mentioned, including the addition that Legacy will bring in standing emotes to both modes. There are some slight changes coming to how challenges can be rerolled too. When a challenge is rerolled, a player can now pick if the rerolled challenge will be for arenas or BR. The team at Respawn don't want to be forcing you down into playing a certain mode to get a challenge. It is also confirmed that low profile is being completely removed, and that going forward Octane will be getting some small changes made too. The devs stated that currently Octane has a 1 in 4 pick rate, which is very high, so they're looking to change his kit to try and bring that down a bit. His stim will now be doing more damage, and they didn't really share too much more details about this, but expect to see more in the patch notes. The aim is to not make Octane unfun, but try to bring down that pick rate. The map cycle for the season will be World's Edge and Olympus. Ranked will start on World's Edge for the first split. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We have a lot of other podcast episodes on our channel where we sit down and talk with some of the world's best creatives. Some of these are gaming related, and some feature creatives from very, very different backgrounds. In the next episode of the podcast, we actually have an interview with 2 different Apex Legends voice actors, so be sure to be on the lookout for that.